Hello, today's topic is silence the noise. Tuning out the world to hear the heartbeat of your purpose. The world is full of suggestions for us. It's a huge machine which generates suggestions without any break. It tries to tell us how we should be, how we should behave, what we should eat, how we should look, how we should spend our free time, what we should brush our teeth with, what we should achieve, how our children should behave, what they should eat, what car I should drive, what job I should have, and so forth. The world behaves like a never constant fountain of definitions, suggestions about our lives and behavior. We get flooded with ideas on what to do, what not to do, what to avoid, which people to avoid, which people to have around, etc. So we are getting flooded with suggestions, and this is the noise. However, this type of noise, this constant, overbearing kind of, you know, flood of demands, suggestions, definitions, etc., is extremely stressful in the long run. So if you are listening to this and try to comply to them, to some of these demands, obviously you cannot comply to all, this becomes extremely stressful and actually very damaging also. So why can't we just be okay with all these definitions of success? What if I just brush all of them aside and clean up my mind of all of those? Yes, we could try to do that, but there is a slight problem with this. I'll explain. There comes the void, the nothingness, like a place where there is no direction, like a limbo. So if we try to brush aside all the definitions of the world without a substitution, then yes, what happens? Yeah. So if all of the definitions of society about what success is and what I should be, etc., are all gone, what should I do then? What is my real purpose? Then you have these kind of questions coming up. So if you brush aside all of these, right, we need to replace these suggestions with some purpose. Okay, so you cannot replace noise without a purpose. That's the idea. Society is giving us all of these definitions of success because there is a generalized void of purpose. And wherever there is a vacuum, something is attracted into it. It's like a Hoover. Hoover creates internally a vacuum of air, and then it kind of sucks up everything that's around. And when this happens, obviously you are not sucking in good stuff. You're sucking in actually dirt very often. So, okay, so you need to define purpose. So how can I then define purpose? In general, generally we can say that everyone's purpose is to be really happy. Happiness is our one of the main purposes of everyone. But okay, how can you become really happy? That's the next question. We have here a chain of questions. Okay, by being, how can I become really happy? Okay, I would say by being the best version of yourself. Okay, but then how can you become this best version of yourself? Well, and this is my thing, I would say to be the best version of yourself is to be yourself minus all the defects, negative emotions, vices, fears, desires, feelings of neediness, and so on. So basically, the process of becoming the best version of yourself is actually to be what you are, not to negate yourself, but to clean up your personality. So then, in this case, if this is true, then my purpose should be to clean up, to transform my personality to overcome any form of negativity. So this is, in a sense, a process of self purification to a degree. So, so the base idea here is generally the purpose of everyone is to become really happy. And I believe that achieving happiness has to do with a process of self transformation, which helps us to overcome the negative. Okay, so there it is, the purpose. When you have a purpose, you fill the existential void. However, a purpose needs also practice. So it is not enough to have a purpose. You also need to practice something to achieve that purpose. So you need purpose, you need strategy, and you need a heartbeat. Heartbeat is actually practice. How can I get rid of the negative emotions, fear, desires, negative self-perception over time? How can I do that? You have to change your thinking in a systematic way by feeding the best possible thoughts to your mind over and over and over again. This is my belief. This is what we actually practice in meditation, and this requires regular practice, what I call the heartbeat, to bear fruits. So I suggest you that you practice every day some affirmations. This is a form of meditation. This is one of my favorite ones, which I practice every day, and this goes like this. I view myself as a totally happy and content person. As soon as I wake up, then I imagine that I love everyone and that I'm loved by all. Then I see myself as someone who has no desires whatsoever, is in complete contentment and wants nothing from anyone, from the world. Actually, this feeling of I'm totally detached, I want really nothing. Then I see myself as a totally healthy person with complete health, complete well-being on a mental level, physical level, emotional level. And then I see myself as someone who is in total abundance, who is completely rich, has everything at all levels, physical, material, also emotional, and also in relationships, total abundance everywhere. And finally, I see myself in total harmony with mankind, with matter, with nature, with literally all that exists. And these are 6 affirmations that you can practice every day. And if you practice them every day and you keep on going year after year, day after day, week after week, month after month, something will shift. Your thinking will shift because you'll have ingrained into your subconsciousness all these ideas. These ideas will show up and they will at some point start changing the way you feel. Okay, so if you practice these thoughts for a long period of time, there it is, the heartbeat of purpose. The heartbeat of purpose will be alive, and the noise of the world will fade in your own fulfillment. Have a good night. Thank you.